Today, we're diving into something really interesting, an organization called SUTRA. They're tackling a huge, and I mean huge, challenge. How do you make sure all the money and effort poured into rural development actually makes a difference? Their whole approach is about bridging that frustrating gap between good intentions and real, on-the-ground results. So let's start with the big question, the one that keeps so many people in the development sector up at night. Why is it that billions, literally billions of dollars, get invested in things like agriculture, nutrition, and new livelihood programs? But the impact? Well, it often just doesn't live up to the promise. It's an incredibly common and frustrating story. And the problem, it turns out, isn't always what you'd think. It's not necessarily a lack of money, or even a lack of scientific knowledge. The issue is what the folks at SUTRA call the Great Rural Disconnect. And this, right here, this gets to the absolute heart of it. The problem isn't that we don't have the answers. We often have the research. We know the better farming techniques. The real failure point is in the communication. All that incredible knowledge gets lost in translation somewhere between the expert's brain and the farmer's field. It just fails to connect. Okay, so if the knowledge exists, where does it all go wrong? Let's take a closer look at why these well-meaning efforts so often fall flat. This slide just lays it out so clearly. On the left, you've got the expert knowledge. It's technically perfect, totally sound, but it's often delivered in these dense, text-heavy, generic reports. Now look at the right, the farmer's reality. A farmer doesn't need a 30-page report. They need something practical, something visual, something that speaks their language and relates to their farm. One side creates awareness, the other side needs to build actual capability. And that huge gap leads to this whole checklist of all too familiar failures. You know the type. Materials filled with complex technical jargon that no one really understands. Pictures that are so generic they could be from anywhere in the world, meaning they're from nowhere at all. And oh, the classic mistake, information overload, just throwing tons of facts at people with no single clear action to take. It's often just a one-off training and then poof, gone. And here is the absolutely crucial consequence of all that. You might succeed in creating awareness. A farmer might hear about a new seed variety, but awareness is not the same thing as capability. Knowing something exists doesn't give you the skill, the confidence, or the practical know-how to actually use it. And without that capability, you get no sustained action. Nothing really changes. This is where SUTRA's whole approach starts to feel like a real game changer. They stop looking at communication as just posters and pamphlets, and start seeing design itself as a powerful strategic tool for change. This quote is basically their entire philosophy boiled down into one sentence. Think about it. The way a poster is laid out, the images you choose, the simplicity of the language. These aren't just about making something look nice. No way. These are functional, strategic decisions designed to make learning easier and to actually prompt someone to do something different. And this philosophy is guided by some really smart, practical principles. Clarity before creativity is number one. I mean, if it's not easily understood, it's totally useless, right? Everything has to be audience first, starting with the reality, not the experts. Every single piece of content has to be aimed at changing a specific behavior, and it has to be relevant to what's happening in the field, all built into a system that can actually grow and scale. Okay, so that's the philosophy, but how does that turn into something real? Well, SUTRA didn't just write down some nice ideas. They've built a complete end-to-end system that's engineered to create action. This one sentence perfectly explains their entire pipeline. It's a journey. You start with raw knowledge, you methodically transform it into communication. That communication creates real learning, and that learning, well, that's what leads to real, sustainable action out in the villages. So here's what that system actually looks like in practice. It all starts with the institutional funding and having really clear program goals. That information feeds into what they call the core knowledge and design system. That's kind of the brain of the operation. From there, the knowledge is packaged into all sorts of different formats, delivered through partners on the ground, and used by the end user. But here's the most critical part. Step 6, that feedback loop, which sends insights and data all the way back to the beginning to make the whole system smarter. Let's zoom in on that brain for a second. SUTRA calls it content intelligence. Now, this isn't just about knowing the technical details of a subject. It's a deep, research-based understanding of the audience. Who are they? What's their local context? What are the real-world barriers, cultural, financial, whatever, that are stopping them from trying something new? It's all that work that makes sure the content isn't just accurate, but actually usable.
And next up is the scalability engine. This part is so smart. It's called multi-format packaging. You see, a single piece of core knowledge, say how to properly use a new fertilizer, doesn't just become one poster. No, it's systematically repurposed. It becomes a simple leaflet, an audio clip for WhatsApp, a short how-to video, maybe even a flip chart for a community health worker. This way, you maximize your reach and get way more bang for your buck.
And when you put those two things together, that deep content intelligence and the smart, scalable packaging, the entire relationship changes. An organization like SUTRA is no longer just a vendor you hire to design a brochure. They become a strategic, long-term knowledge partner who is just as invested in the ultimate goal as you are. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most vital part of this whole system, closing that feedback loop so that everything gets better and better over time. Because when the system really works, the outcomes are incredibly tangible. You're not just hoping for the best. You see improved understanding of technical info, for sure, but more importantly, you see increased adoption of the practices you're recommending. You see farmers and field workers who are more capable and confident. And you build up this library of communication assets that can be reused and adapted, saving time and money down the road. So you see, the ultimate goal isn't just to push content out the door. The real goal is to create a living, breathing system, a system that actively learns from what's working and what isn't out in the real world and becomes more effective and more credible with every single cycle. And I just want to leave you with this final powerful idea. Impact is not a report. Impact is a system that learns. Wow, that just flips the entire traditional development model on its head, doesn't it? Instead of just measuring past performance in a dusty report, the focus shifts to building an intelligent system that's designed for future success. It really makes you wonder, what other big problems could we solve if more organizations thought this way?